Whoa, my camera is way off. I just set it right on top and didn't even look at it. There we go. Hi, here I am. Okay, so 1.2. So we're finally going to be getting into some numbers this lesson, which may be exciting for some of you, maybe not so much others. You should have, again, already done the 1.2 scavenger hunt quiz, where you're just looking up the answers in these notes. We got vocab every single time. Geometry is super, super heavy vocab. So we're going to kind of skip around a little bit. Some of the questions we're going to do, we're not going to do all of them. We're just going to do example 1, 2, and 7, actually. So this will happen sometimes in these videos. We'll skip through the examples and then do more in class. So make sure you're paying attention to which example we're looking at. So with example 1, in the vocab, we talked about the segment addition postulate. Now this sounds really fancy, but it's very obvious. Basically what it means is if I have two segments, there we go. I have two segments, right? One segment plus the other segment, if I put them end to end, equals the length of the whole segment. That should make sense, right? If I break a ruler and then try and tape it back together, it should still be the same length, right? I have these two segments of my ruler, I tape them back together, and hey, it's still 12 inches. As long as I haven't broken off pieces, yeah? So that's literally what segment addition postulate is. Little segment plus another segment equals the whole segment. So we're going to see, you're going to be told, though, a lot of times you're not going to be given a picture. You're going to be told how my points lie. So we're going to draw a sketch of these collinear points, all lying on the same line here. We have E between D and F. So this seems obvious and easy, but believe me, I've been doing this for a long time and you guys get mixed up. What you want to do is put your end points first. If E is between D and F, that means D and F are here and E is in between them. So I'm going to put D and F. Doesn't really matter where. I'm going to connect them, create a line segment, and I need to put E between them, right? E is going in between. Between specifically does not necessarily mean the middle. So I'm going to put E here. We could put E anywhere. It doesn't matter. Between just means somewhere in between. So hey, there is a sketch of the three collinear points. That's all that the question is asking to start, sorry. Then we are going to write the segment addition postulate. So that was this thing right here. This is the segment addition postulate, in particular this little piece here. When we are writing out how the segments add together. Whoa. Oh, go ahead, come on. I can edit it up.
Sorry.
That's
Is yours?
It is. Where was it?
In my office. I was like,
Oh,
it was right where you sat
I
yesterday.
must have abandoned it, yeah.
Sorry. No, sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. No, it's fine.
All right, talk to you later.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. So again, the segment addition postulate is this, right? That's in our vocabulary. That tells us how the segments add together to equal the whole. This is the piece plus the piece equals the whole. So here we have, I have this piece, I have this piece, and I have the whole. That's what we're going to write, yeah? So I'm going to name this segment here. This is DE, right? Segment DE plus, from here to here, that segment EF, right? Equals the name of my whole segment. This whole thing goes from D, goes from D to F. So this right here, that is the segment addition postulate for those points. Again, all it tells us is one segment plus another segment equals the length of the whole segment. That's all this is saying. So let's try it again. Okay, so I want you guys to try this. Draw a sketch of the three collinear points. Be careful. N and P are your endpoints. M is going to go somewhere in the middle. Go ahead and try it. Make sure you're labeling it just like we did here. N and P are your endpoints. M is somewhere in the middle. Okay, so again, I like to draw N and P first. because M is going in the middle of them, between them. So I'm going to choose to put M here. It literally doesn't matter where you put M as long as it's not an endpoint. So that is my sketch. Then we are going to write the segment addition postulate. So I want you to try this. Name this segment plus this segment equals the whole segment. You just have to name them. Again, it's going to look like the first segment plus the second segment equals the whole. Go ahead and try and fill in those spots. Okay, our first segment is N to M. There we go. Our next segment is M to P. There we go. Equals the whole thing. NP. Part plus the part equals the whole. That's all that's happening. Again, it should make sense. It should be obvious that adding two lengths together gives us the length of the whole thing. So we're going to practice that more in class. We are skipping to example 7 now. So look in your notes, find example 7. The reason why we're skipping here is because segment addition is going to get a bit more confusing. We're going to add in some algebraic concepts. But this is just a formula. So it says find the coordinates of the midpoint of A, B with these endpoints. So this would be like on a graph. We don't have to graph it, but I'm just going to show you really quickly here. If we forgot how to plot points. -2, 3, this is your x and your y, your x and your y for both those points. So let's see. -2, 3 would go to the left 2 and up 3. So there's A. And again, you don't actually have to draw this. B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. And then down 2. That's B. So this is the segment they're talking about. You don't have to graph it to be able to do this problem, but just so you understand what we're doing, our goal is to find the middle of this, whatever the middle point is. I want to know what is that x and y in the middle. We have a formula for that, because if you guys recall, on an xy axis, you can't count diagonally. Like I can't go, oh, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't do that. We can only count up and down and side to side. So we have this formula. Look back to your notes. Midpoint formula. Let's go ahead and copy that over. Our midpoint, I'm going to write this out, equals, parentheses, x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. Notice this is a comma here, which means our answer is going to be a coordinate. Our answer is going to be an x comma y. You're not going to have just one number. Our answer will be one of these. So let's pop our information in. We need to add our x's together and divide by 2. We need to add our y's together and divide by 2. I already have it labeled here. You might want to as well. That the first numbers are our x's and the second numbers are our y's. So once again, what are my x's that I'm going to add together based on how I have it labeled here? -2 and 5, I'm going to add those together because those are my x's. So I have -2 plus 5 over 2. Those are my x's. They are the first numbers. So the y's are the second numbers. I have a 3 and a -2. So I'm going to go 3. Now I'm going to show this, but we have to be careful that we understand. I'm adding together a 3 and a -2. I can go 3 plus a -2. You need to understand that 3 plus a -2 is the same thing as 3 minus 2. Because this plus minus keeps it a minus, yeah? If it were a minus minus, that would go positive. But again, a plus minus, yeah, 3 minus 2. But again, you can plug it in the calculator. So we're going to plug these in individually. We are not going to get this all together. I'm going to end up with 2 separate numbers for my answer. So take a second to plug this in the calculator. -2 plus 5, get what that is, and then divide by 2. 3 plus a -2, divided by 2. See what you get. Okay, so these are not going to work out nicely. -2 plus 5 is 3. Over 2, I can just leave it like that. If you got 1.5, it's the same thing. 3 over 2, it actually, to practice for Canvas, write that as a decimal. It should be 1.5. Again, it is 3 over 2. As a decimal, it's 1.5. Here, you would have gotten 1 over 2, which is 0.5. And that's our answer. We leave it like that because that is a point on the graph, right? I could go 1.5, 0.5. Wouldn't be very pretty, but that is the answer. That's going to be the middle point right here. And actually, it looks about right, pretty close, yeah, to what I estimated between those 2 points. We're going to practice that more in class, though. That was a little bit confusing.